So if there's going to be a Bard ban coming in, because no one really knows what to expect against a champion that's still fairly new to the competitive scene in League of Legends. You can see very active coaches and analysts on this stage talking to their players.
Pick Bard.
Yeah, he moves over to PWL, says, all right, do it again. That was great.
I mean, that's the only advice you can give him. Whatever he was doing, it certainly worked out.
He's
Surgical
like, look,
mask.
okay, I need to play Bard again. But we need a different comp. They're going to ban something useful. I mean, Naba would be pretty sick if Flame wants to take Nar again, assuming, of course, that he gets it.
I wish there was a catchy name with Narbard. I only get Nard.
I mean, it's not very good, unfortunately. Nard, I mean, it just sounds like you're getting attacked by Nard, right?
Exactly.
Well,
Nard into a wall.
All right, well, UP versus LGD game number 2 will now get into the draft, and we'll see if there is going to be a Nard ban coming through for either side here. Lulu Cassiopeia, UP's first 2 bans. LGD going to select the Azir once again, so those 2 popular mid laners. It feels like Azir Xerath all over again, just with a slightly different twist.
We had no jungle bans whatsoever last game. I think both junglers did fine and didn't really seem to advantage one side or the other, whether they got the Gragas or the Rek'Sai. Kalista, very standard ban. You have to respect that against Sketch. It's surprising because, again, we expect him to be really wanting to pick up that champion, but on both the blue and now the red side, being forced to ban the Kalista.
Yeah, Imp not going to take it there, as Rek'Sai actually does get banned there, so one of the junglers is going to get targeted. I wonder if LGD think to ban something like Gragas here and just be like, okay, you're banning a jungler, you're going to try and take probably Gragas away here. They are going to ban it, which leaves Sejuani and Nunu as the other big ones that people think of, but plenty of options open still.
And I come back to the chess match analogy. It's one of those situations where suddenly, after no jungle bans, you ban out a high pressure or mid-game pressure jungler. I think it's a smart move from LG to respect that, ban out the other one, and ensure there's no mismatch. There's no Gragas versus Nunu matchup. There's no Gragas versus Sejuani matchup. Instead, they're going to be similar level of pressure, unless you want to go out of meta and move towards the Lee Sin or some of the other extended picks in the jungle meta.
We've seen that already, but be curious to see where the junglers do want to go with their junglers, whether they keep it a bit more standard or do mix it up. But UP, considering their first pick here, I liked the Nut Hover here, but decided they'd rather have the Hecarim. But you have to think with that matchup especially, Flame is snapping off the Nar.
He's at least going to show us the cannon that we've wanted for so long.
He looks so happy. He's like, yes, cannon. His analyst immediately like, no. He's like, oh.
There's 2 schools of thought. Shy returned to the Shyvana recently in the LCK. Again, can be a very strong laning matchup. Very similar. You take the teleport smite. Similar roles in team fights as well. But the Gnar, especially after that 5-man Gnar, I think you have to take it.
Flame looks really happy here, but he's going to consider a couple more champions. Flashing the Bard once again, our LGD. They might have something kooky cooked up once again. Is it going to be the Nard combo coming in? Not much longer for them to change up their champions. Flame is really happy to be getting his Nard once again, and it is the Nard combo coming through.
Nard is the word. Nard is locked in. This is going to be exciting. Will we see just waiting out 2.5 seconds of stasis into a 5-man ultimate? Tempered Fate into Gnar ultimate. We'll just say Nard and just leave it like that.
I mean, Banar is your other option, and that's definitely not good. So LGD, again, put together some nice team fight combo. That is what Bard brings to you. Always creates unique situations, certainly, but a lot of good team fight situations, despite maybe some weak laning, or even, honestly, weak roaming for a roam champion. Not quite the same influence as, say, the Annie that we were seeing all throughout the spring. But
it can be situational, but definitely not the reliable roam of an Alistar or Annie.
No, or even something like a Thresh. But UP going to answer back with some strong picks of their own. There's actually the Thresh that we talked about, and Sejuani is going to be the jungler of choice.
There's some windows to be exploited about this UP comp. So far, they've locked in a scaling jungler and a scaling top laner, especially a scaling top laner with a bad matchup against Gnar. I mean, Thresh, obviously, a very strong pick mid-game champion, but some weaknesses. I want to see some mid-game power coming out from LGD.
I mean, I don't know if I want to see Vayne again. I didn't mind the Jinx that they were flashing, actually, but again, the jungle pool's also been shredded slightly. Nunu's the only big jungler that we look at generally that's still available here. So if he wants to take it against Sejuani, he can. Actually like the Jinx flash there for a while. It was very cute, actually, but Godvi is going to lock in the Nunu for his jungler TBQ, and Imp is back on Vayne duty.
There's already a lot of peel and a lot of the Blood Boil on Vayne, obviously, has always been a synergy even back in the Nunu support days, and now you've got the zone control of both if we see the, especially see the Gnar bar being really well cultivated by Flame, the threat of the Gnar ultimate, the threat of the Absolute Zero. There's a lot of space for Vayne potentially doing a lot of damage. Not quite the Azir to round out a perfect protect the hyper carry comp. Not going to be available in this particular situation. But UP, weak top lane, weak jungler that's trying to pick some power with their other picks.
The big issue here is that LGD have already flashed it to UP. I assume PYL is snapping off Orianna here for Godby. It's good in the matchup against LeBlanc. Civ is great as well for UP, so I don't mind that comp at all, but I don't see why Godby wants to change unless they really, yes they do, want to run the Varus. But once again,
it's shenanigans time once again, pastry time. LGD, there was a big discussion about chaos versus control, and LGD definitely on the chaos side of things.
They certainly do love to be on that for a lot of the time, unless they get super serious in playoffs, and then they really come out into that, I guess, their final form. But again, we saw a lot of this team comp from LGD do work in the last game. Can LGD do similar things? I think one time you're sort of, okay, I see what you did. They're very cute POL, nice Bard ultimates, and they set up some nice moments. But if they can make it work once again, especially if they don't fall too far behind and can be proactive with their team fight, that says to me that LGD are really onto something with this team comp.
I mean, to me, in general, when we run through the lineups, we're going to start off with a strong laning matchup for LGD in the top lane. But apart from this lane, I think you have to abandon the strong top laning 1v1, go for the lane swap. If you get a lane swap off and Vayne shows up in a lane against Sivir with Blade of the Ruined King, I think this LGD comp has a lot more potential. I actually like it over the previous LGD comp. With the Nunu Space Control Ultimate especially, to have some semblance of a front line. How is Varus going to do against LeBlanc? Definitely going to be on the back foot for that early laning phase.
Yeah, I mean, Sketch, again on the Sivir, might struggle once items come through for the Vayne. This is a fairly standard support matchup as well. Plenty of playmaking opportunity going in there between Hart and PYL. Bard is back, Varus is back. Godby's going to go kooky once again here. And if LGD can make this work, I'll be a believer. I'll be a Bard leaver, Papa Smithy.
Yeah, will we see the 1v1 matchup, Nah taking advantage of Hecarim? Will we instead see the lane swap that might isolate not the best mid lane matchup, you'd have to think? I guess Varus can play super, super safe, but have no semblance of control against a strong laning champion like LeBlanc.
Well, we'll have to see what happens. It is round 2 for our magical journey. And welcome back onto the Rift here. LGD versus UP once more, and a very similar look here for LGD in their team comp. Godby has changed skins, important to note there, but other than that, all of the same elements from their successful Game 1 victory.
And of course, their successful Game 1 victory began dying 2-1 in kills at level 1. So it doesn't look like we're going to have a 5-man fight in the top lane. Sad days for this particular game, but UP, they're a 4-man stack. They want to get some information, but so far not really achieved anything.
And you can see everyone backing off just some wards, but fairly shallow for both sides as LGD just looking to guard their entrances. I like that Imp and PYL are sort of sticking to the middle of the map, not committing to a direction just yet again, trying to sniff out the lane swap. At this point, looks like they're going to have to guess here, but if they're moving to the top and Sketch is going right, it looks, no, actually back to the mid lane. So both teams really trying to make sure they scout them out, but Imp and POL are going to now commit to the top side.
I mean, very expected the lane swap coming through from LG. Going to be successful, so they don't get Nah just smashing off against a Hecarim, but Sivir actually cheating towards the top side. They don't have information yet. They have not been spotted by a blue ward just yet, but the bluff has been called by UP.
Yeah, so nice guess there from UP. It looks like they will get the lane they want eventually once Hart moves out of the way. But the smart thing about what LGD are doing, they check all of the entrances to the jungle and then move their lane back up to the jungle so they know there are no wards there to spot the swap.
So importantly, Sketch and Imp have now spotted. So how does this work in terms of vertical jungling? Both teams are starting off on their buffs on the bottom side of the jungle. Will we see true vertical jungling? Sketch is 1v2. You have to really respect that passive coming through from Vayne, especially when it comes to level 1 autos. And even though this matchup should be a good one for Sivir, especially in the early levels, a quick level 2, anything's possible with no spell shield available from Sivir.
And it looks like Nunu actually might just be doing a standard horizontal jungle. So, I mean, you kind of have to at this point. They both started on the same side of the map anyway. So, oh, that makes sense as well. Yes, they're obviously on the same side of the map. So, going to be a fairly normal jungle start here. And they actually are not going to get the swap they wanted, it looks like. Imp and PoE are going to have to lane standard.
But Imp and PYL got to lane first. They have lane control as Vayne suddenly hit level 2. We already know that W has been skilled by Sivir in this particular situation. So UP on the back foot. This lane should evolve to get better for Sivir, but if Vayne somehow gets through it, Blade of the Ruined King is definitely the big change in this laning power between the two carries.
That's all Vayne can really ask for, I feel like, in a lane. We used to use the phrase even or better to describe pretty much every Vayne lane, and that's certainly going to apply here.
If she goes even or better, that's when she's happy. But honestly, losing by 10 CS is always decent in a Vayne lane. Sivir's no exception. But yeah, the tipping point, it's that first item. It's the big Blade the Ruin King purchase.
And PYL actually found hard here. Imp's going to come in and get aggressive. TBQ going to join in with a snowball, but an exhaust's going to come down. Punishes here with Amy as well. PYL already dead. Heal popped as Flame is ported into the top side as well. And LGD going to try and navigate now a 4v3. Flashes there, get used as Flames, forced to hop and flash away. Imp gets a kill into Amy, but it looks like he might go down. 3-man boomerang's not enough. Punish gets the next kill, and we start the game almost exactly the same way as last time.
So it evolved into 4v4. Crucially, Hecarim did not use his teleport, and Varus, as a fairly immovable, not control mage, but obviously wave clear champion, didn't come and join. The result is that Varus now has to deal with a fiendish Codex LeBlanc at 4 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it's already tough for Godv. You saw him get poked under his turret at level 2 and take about 50% of his health. Not going to get much better, unfortunately. I mean, he's got a decent CS lead now, but LeBlanc's going to come back and even that up fairly quickly. And Godv will go back. He'll get whatever item he can afford as PYL there looks for a Q. Forces the flasher onto Sketch. Hook will miss, though, as TBQ, sorry, is going to rotate away. So nice pressure there from Nunu. Almost gets another kill.
It was really nice pathing by TBQ to come back to lane. They really expected the aggressive back in the closest brush. They just pushed in a wave. It looked like it was going to be a big win for you because I'm going to get a free back after pushing in 2.5 waves grouped up into the turret that Vayne was going to miss. Now they've been punished. LGD have all the options about wave control. And Sivir's actually been forced to go for kind of a weird build. Didn't have enough gold for a pickaxe, you have to guess, and just double longsword, kind of pricing herself into an eventual Ghost Blade.
And I saw Imp do this as well, and I was like, huh, is that going to set him back? But I believe this actually builds in the build order, so he's fine as far as items go. I guess Scat saw the double longsword and said, well, I can't afford to fall behind in this lane. Guess I have to copy you.
And that's just how thrift shopping's evolved, is when you look at the enemy like, he got a pickaxe, I guess I have to match the power. Especially in a lane matchup where you're expected to win. Just coming back with a longsword, you open up really potential for Imp to run away with the lane, even in a counter matchup.
Imp is so aggressive, but a good bait here for UP. Amy's in back in the top side. Imp has no summoners. He's actually going to re-all in, but a Flay going to keep him safe. He eats the tower hit, and Amy gets an easy kill.
I think it was smart of him to go aggressive. He was going to die whatever. Magical journey.
Very magical, but maybe not for PYL. Actually able to get out safely, but actually might have been towered, I fear. Long's level 5. That's a fairly tanky Hecarim, and PYL, as a result, has to walk back to his tier 2 turret to be safe.
But you might think, why did Imp keep going aggressive? Is that he was 100% dead, and if he went aggressive, Sivir was 1 auto away from dying. It was the only way he could guarantee that the kill credit wouldn't go to the Sivir. So it's that situation where you're relatively happy to give it to a jungler. Giving it to a Cinderhulk scaling jungler like Sejuani certainly isn't ideal, but it was the best of a bad situation for him.
Yeah, and TBQ's answering nicely here as well, able to sneak away a dragon with a slight amount of help, but not a massive amount there from Flame, and Punished returning to his lane. TBQ still working on the dragon, should be able to get it though, as Consume's going to come back, and he does have his smite available. Dragon number 1's going to go to LGD, and a decent trade there with Imp dying. He's actually back down in the bottom lane now against the Hecarim for now.
And it was impressive that Govy was able to actually get some lane control, push it into the turret, just to make that Nunu dragon even safer in the solo dragon stakes. Punish going to have a lot of wave control, waiting for level 6, but Godv, despite not having the 2 kills in the pocket, pings that level 6 first. Will it be enough, though, through both the potential disengage of the Chain of Corruption and the defensive barrier choice to get through this LeBlanc lane?
I think barrier is an important highlight. That's a smart summoner choice there for Godwin. Pretty much says against an Ignite mid laner, you are determined to not die wherever possible.
It's just the highest amount of early game shooting. It gives you that much more flat, effective health compared to heal. A much more selfish choice, but you can't really afford to take liberties against LeBlanc.
No, I mean, again, Orianna would have been, I thought was a gimme here in LGD's team comp, but Godby wanted to play the Varus once again, has to make some consolations to get through the lane, and so far, even on CS, despite all the roaming that Punish has been doing, he'll be on the back foot for a bit while longer, but if he can get through the lane and be strong once the mid-game and the fights do come, especially if they can set up a siege, Godby is stacking Tear of the Goddess is going to be just fine.
I think Godby is just observing the trends in high elo, especially Korean solo queue. They're loving this Varus mid. Not so much the Kog'Maw mid, but the Varus mid has really evolved as that screens away poke control champion in the mid lane with good wave clear. And again, now Pawn has brought it out, and now Godvy's picking it up as well.
I believe Pawn has really brought it out. I think it's the only thing he's played so far in his games with EDG.
He's played Fizz as well.
Oh, he has? Oh, you're right. He has played Fizz. For a while, it was Varus only.
14-kill game Fizz reminded us that it's not just Varus only.
No, but Pawn's the kind of player that I feel like when he latches onto a champion, he just really wants to play only that champion.
You say that, but he also has, what, 20, 21 unique picks as well?
He has some wins on Vega. I don't know what to tell you.
He doesn't play champions once.
No. He really, he finds something, he's like, this is great, I'm going to play it.
And you think, okay, it's just the one Vega game. Okay,
Never.
You convinced me, but it's always the second one that's right around the corner.
I mean, no one expects the second Vega game, surely. I mean, you see one, all right, again, cute stuff. Kind of like the Bard game here. I mean, Bard Varus now with the Nara as well. I can see what LGD want to do with their team comp as Punish dives in. Good chain there, lands in, and Godby going to try and get the trades down, but there's nothing coming in this matchup.
If he hits the Q, doesn't manage to, but there is counter poke available. Each of those piercing lights is doing, each of those piercing arrows is doing a lot of trade damage to LeBlanc, who does not have the highest base armor values especially. So the mid lane, the all-in trade certainly favoring Punished, but Godby, he's got windows to at least poke out the LeBlanc.
And you can see with the way he's playing as well. Just be safe here as PYL eats a hook there from Hart, but Imp really turning on the aggression. Actually is now slightly better in the lane as far as damage goes as Hart gets stunned, but Sketch does not. Good spell shield by Siva to keep herself safe. But Imp, he's just going back in. He gets flayed there, forced to use the heal.
Early.
Pops the ulti. POL tries to find it, but doesn't get there. Exhaust is down. Imp's going to die. Hart will get credit for that kill. Box onto POL is going to secure the second. And a misstep there. Oh my god, Sketch might be able to turn it around. PYL gets it, but dies in the magical journey. Hart actually gets the double as TBQ tunnels the ulti to try and get this Thresh. He's going to maybe die for it. The Snowball's doing good damage, and TBQ needs one more, but he has to flash for it. Flash Snowball for the kill. Long in the top lane's diving on the flame. That's an easy kill, and it's chaos across the rift.
It kills across the rift, but the one up top is probably the biggest one, Pastry Time. I was looking at the CS values. 30 CS behind just a moment ago, now picks up a kill. So very nice ganking pressure there. It's to be expected that Hecarim with a poor early ganking jungler wouldn't be able to get a lot of pressure and would start to really get punished. And what is a difficult matchup for the Hecarim. Amy finally gets the levels, hits level 6, shows up with Glacial Prison, and helps out the Hecarim.
Oh, Godby, I thought actually set the trap, does get the kill. Very well played with the ultimate there as well. Pinkward nonetheless, Godby is very crafty.
Very, very sneaky. It was definitely Fizz-esque playing the Varus.
Sure. I mean, it's Godby. Again, he likes to pull out these different picks. I'm sure him and Pawn are having some sort of competition in the LPL season where they try and play more unique champions than the other. I believe, if that's the case, that Godby has the current record from spring, but there's plenty of matches left in the summer, Papa Smithy.
Okay, let's return to the bot lane 2v2. We saw the all-in started by LG. Now, one thing I want you guys to notice that might have been missed in the trade is that Imp healed early. There's no ignite on the side of UP. It might have just been reactive, but he healed maybe just for the movement speed and positioning. Got the full value of the heal. Siva was ignited, healed through the ignite, and had the reduction come through, and still won a 2v2 trade, which shows you that opting to those trades at that point is risky. As Amy gets poked out, probably not kill pressure, but if there's another Q.
Yeah, Punish actually now going to get taken on. Good Q there from Godby, who's kind of starting to bully around these lanes now, which is a bit of a crazy thing to say about Varus, but Sketch and Hart are doing decently well on the bottom side, keeping that vein honest, and Imp, you sort of mentioned it already, needs that Blade of the Ruin King to really get things going, and is not quite there yet.
That's kind of the point, was that all the other factors were actually in the advantage of LGD, and they got their big heal value, which doubled, of course, the heal effective to Siva, and soundly lost it 2v2.
They're all-inning again, actually. Ulti misses there. Very well played by Sketch and Hart. Spell shield there to dodge the Tempered Fate. And good positioning from Thresh to get out of it. TBQ is going to find Long, actually, though. Channels the ulti for decent damage. Godby lining it up. Has the ulti back in there. Snowball lands through. Q's going to go in. Ulti misses, though, as Long. Oh, it hit. He saved his ulti, but still managed to go over. But the Q going to land in. Not enough damage, and Punish going to launch in. Try and take him out, but Flame, he wants to die, but he can't quite do it.
If Lung had complete information, actually held the ultimate, which of course cannot be stopped, that is a massive ride to come through for Amy. They are going to pick up this tower, but if he was cognizant of the fact that Varus had ult and just waited to use the Onslaught of Shadows in that manner, that was beautiful Hecarim mechanics from Long.
Kind of awkward that Godby was channeling a Q there as well, because he couldn't actually use his ulti. He's busy charging up his arrows. So Godby has his blue buff looking just fine, actually. A good CS lead's opened up if despite the fact that Punish has the Morello Nomicon now ready to go and has those all-in potential, still Amy going to ride back in, and Imp is far too far forward here in this lane without a tower to run to. Is going to get flanked. The box goes down. Imp's going to die. Sketch might even get the kill and does.
Even get the kill credit on exactly who they want to. Flame has already teleported in.
He's going in there. Exhaust comes through. Good wallop actually coming in as the Nah gets on the Heart and Sketch. Good ulti though from Amy to counter as Godby is joined in. TBQ gets hooked up by the Thresh. He's taking a little too much damage as Punish comes down and gets the kill. And punished indeed there. 2 kills for UP and now going to be a Dragon.
Yeah, UP fighting as a 4-man unit is what we always see with Sivir and tanks, which again is effectively Sivir, tanks and friends coming through apart from LeBlanc poking around the sides. UP fight as a unit. Very smart. Good target selection, taking down the jungler especially first. Should be an unanswered Dragon, but they're coming back in.
Godby eats a hook and's forced to flash away. Dragon still getting aggressed on. PWL does not have his ultimate, so can't really contest or at least buy some time for his team. Throws out a Q, but a good dodge from Amy keeps him safe from that tether. And UP going to get their Dragon and collect their gold lead.
Just watching to see what Flame builds. Looks like it's going to be Farmy Cinder
Imp is
again.
still here. Good Q there from PWL. Long's going to die to Imp, and it's been a crazy long extended team fight, but it's a trade, I think, about 3-for-1 in favor of UP still, plus the Dragon there as well.
And aggressive backs getting punished across the map. We already saw Sivir and Thresh early in the game getting punished for overstaying after pushing in a wave. Lung was just too cute with his back and got punished as well.
And Imp still doesn't have a blade as PWL's too aggressive. Heals used as well. Sketch going to get aggressed on as Imp pops him away with a condemn, but still going to try and move in. Amy's going to line it up, though. Doesn't have an ulti. PWL has to run very far away. And Imp, you can see, he wants to all in this Sivir. He knows he can win duels, but he really needs to get that blade on pronto.
Yeah, the trades are getting better and better for Imp. He has the recurve bow, which gives now 10 physical damage extra on auto attack, but not quite the blade for the significant kill pressure. It's very, very close. It's a game of inches and bottom, and as you mentioned, the tipping point should be not far away. No,
but if Sketch, who's kept in it quite nicely, going to go back and complete what I can only imagine is a fairly juicy shopping trip, then things should start getting better here as well. And UP, again, navigated themselves to a decent goal. They did about 3,000. Flame, though, steals the Gromp and now going to get aggressive onto Long. He's trying to make his life hell here as TBQ's coming up as well. Flame actually needs Mega now. It's not quite close enough. TBQ going to come back in. Flame building up Reg quickly. Punish goes in. Q lands there for LeBlanc. Long gets the kill. Ulti's out onto Punish, but it's not enough to kill him. Now Godby going to try and line it up. Just needs one more Q. He tries to bait in. Good line there, but he doesn't get the kill. And now Amy's up here. Ulti goes through. Long gets another. TBQ's dead. That's 3-for-0 UP.
And I hope we see a replay because the reactive flash as the piercing arrow was literally pixels away was beautiful from the LeBlanc. That's the only reason she lived. Great prediction coming through from Godby. But the reaction, wonderful from UP. And they just out-skirmished the LGD team that very recently were hitting the finals of the LPL.
And that's the look of a man that knows that Varus Q just got flashed away from. He did everything he could as well. Line it up over the distortion to try and make sure he hit both, and unfortunately just got outplayed by Flash.
One of those moments where you're just like, how could he have Flash? Like, well, obviously he did. He had the full information, but the frustration is real.
It is indeed, and this is going to add to it here. Bard ulti comes in. Sketch dodges it once more. Blue buff going to be safe, but not going to get stolen away as Amy actually smites it. PWL tried to get cute and tether them to their own blue buff. But unfortunately, just missing the timing on the Q.
And they thought they had Lung down. It was a 2v1 trade, but we already saw the trade went very well for UP. And now Lung 3-1 and 2, still 20 CS behind, but getting to pick up team fight items just to be able to contest the Dragons. They're 1-1, but at 11-5 in kills. UP's late game, it's going to come eventually, and the gold, wow, it's ballooned quickly. It's almost 5,000.
Yeah, they've grown it nicely, mainly from the turret advantage that they have here. 3-0 now up for unlimited potential and growing a nice gold lead. The kills that they've gotten have looked good as well and punished. You can see the poke there for Varus. Again, we get the idea of what these champions are supposed to do, but LGD looking again for another rough early and mid game. Going to try and see if they can land out some juicy ultimates in the late game.
I don't think I've seen situations where you're losing CS in multiple lanes, not quite in bottom if you include the Targons.
Goodbye, PWL.
Yeah.
Yep. Journey a bit too magical there. Ulti actually spell shielded, I think, there, but good. Hail of Arrow is going to keep him safe. Never mind. Punish comes in. Amy throws in the ultimate. Everyone goes in over the top of the Raptor camp. And that's 2 kills once again for UP.
And Govy is getting punished for not taking cleanse this game. He took barrier just for a bit more laning power, but the cleanse, I don't think it was optional. At the moment, it feels like QSS can't be naturally built till after the last Whisper. And until then, it's free kills for the Sejuani.
And this tower is going to be free as well. 4-0 now the turret score will be as Sketch dodges back in there after tanking turret aggro. Imp actually has to be careful as well. Flame is down here, but doesn't quite have enough rage yet, and POL returns also, but no ultimates really here. Sketch pops out the shield, but doesn't need it. And again, the 4th turret falling. Dragon back up in a minute 45, and LGD are starting to fall further and further behind.
It's a lot of power in the pockets of LeBlanc, and now it's evolving to be the Hecarim as well. Maybe going to be frozen hard as a snowball item, so Trinity Force not coming at all, going to be quite late. But the immediate power for the early game power spikes of the likes of LeBlanc and Sivir is confirmed.
You can see Imp trying to clear out what he can. He has his Berserker Greaves. He has his Blade of the Ruin King complete now as well. But fairly behind as far as damage goes. Can maybe start to split push, at least if it's against Sketch. He can probably take the duel now. But unfortunately for Imp, all the turrets are down. The safe spots to farm are kind of been destroyed by UP. And that duel that he wanted so many times in the 2v2, he's no longer going to get.
I think maybe that should be credit to UP, though, because the moment that Imp is ready for duels, it feels like the team fight phase has started. It's been accelerated by the likes of Sejuani, who had an uninterrupted early game, suddenly has 10 out of 13 kill participation, and is getting super tanky with the Frozen Heart, Cinder Hulk, and the Sightstone being completed. This is the point where Imp wants to be split pushing, and it feels like UP just going to play the objective game and ensure they don't have these situations where multiple members are overextended with outplay potential from the Vayne.
I mean, there's a lot of protection here for Imp as well. Punish going to dive back in, but PYL's here. Imp, though, almost gets 2-shot by the LeBlanc, and all the bindings in the world aren't going to save you from that.
He would have died if they had ignited. It did not ignite. It looked like a nut cross with just the grievous wounds coming through from the Merlinomicon. Imp wanted to find a Sivir, didn't really want to find a LeBlanc.
No, and Punish very smartly is trying to track Imp now in these lanes as well. So he knows he can clear the waves decently well now with good levels and a good stack of AP built up. Long actually going to steal the red buff with his Smite and Flame. Just can't punish him with a Sunfire Cape.
And exactly, and this is what Flame has done and been outscaled by Hecarims before. He still goes for the Sunfire Cape, which gives a little bit of pushing power, but Frozen Mallet Gnar and what this Sunfire Gnar does when it comes to keeping the Hecarim in check, very, very different. And
I like the double Dorans from Flame. I actually didn't get a chance to mention it earlier. It's a very Flame-esque cannon throwback, really, when you think about it, wanting to bully early on in the lane, but couldn't get enough of a foothold. Some good movement from UP protected their top laner. They're going to get a second dragon out of it now as well, and the advantages keep piling on for unlimited potential.
LGD's warding, once again, is strong, especially in the blue side area. This is what PYL has brought to their lineup. There's a bit more structure. The wards are much, much better. They're trying to out-rotate UP. But it's almost like out-rotating against an Ashe. You see the Sejuani and you realize that if you ever go for any sort of split push shenanigans, the Ashe, the Sejuani is just going to ult.
Oh, TBQ gets nailed by an ult. PYL, though, answers with the defensive Tempered Fate. TBQ, though, already dead to Punish. I believe Flame, nope, he's not quite in the wrong spot. That's actually Long that... No, it is Flame that teleporting. Got cancelled by Long. There we go as Flame burns down, does not die, but does not get to join the fight.
But does, as you can see, get easily 1v1'd by the Hecarim. Maybe that was because a lot of bursts came through as he was watching the map rather than necessarily his lane. But Lung's got the advantage down bottom, up top, down bottom. They're pushing in aggressively. This game, LGD, it's not going as well for them as the previous one.
No, 6 turrets actually going to be the kill for UP to the 0 over LGD, and that means 10,000 gold ahead now for unlimited potential. We saw in the last game, it was about 5,000-6,000 gold ahead, and UP weren't quite confident enough to close it out. This lead is even bigger at an earlier point in the game. So if UP can't close out from here, we'll certainly have some questions about their late game shot calling and their ability as a new team to close out a game. But it is tricky to lose from this spot. Again, save from some crazy PYL bard ultis.
I'm kind of compare this game to, I believe it was LGD versus QG, when we had a scenario where there was a free-farmed Vayne and there was a free-farmed Sejuani, or a Sejuani that got through the early game. We wondered who would have more impact in the late game, and Swift was doing massive work on the Sejuani. That's the difference between this game and the previous series. Previous game we saw Rek'Sai and Gragas from the jungle who have situational engage options compared to Sejuani, who has just the ultimate team fight lockdown. And LGD, they're trying to pull off split pushes. They're trying to pull off 1-3-1. They're trying to rotate around like they did so successfully in the previous series. You just can't do that against a Sejuani who could just throw out the ult, and if it hits, wreck your team.
I mean, we talk about engage and disengage power with ultimates like Bard and Varus. Sejuani might be the queen of those ultimates right now as far as popular picks go, and you can see Punish still pushing as well. Again, keeping Imp in check, or even at this point, just a fine split pusher, and it's actually UP that seem to be doing a bit of a 1-3-1 split push.
No one can go in lane against LeBlanc. Has 6-1 and 3, death cap on top of a Merlinomicon. Vayne certainly cannot lane against her, barring a crazy outplay and honestly some mechanical misplays from the LeBlanc player herself. Hecarim has the control on bottom, got the Phage, they're going to be working towards some sort of Trinity Force, you'd have to think, and Flame's already lost a 1v1. Probably going to keep happening.
Yeah, just runs away there. Doesn't use his ulti to disengage as PYL's forced to flash out. Magical journeys to safety, though, as Amy is going to follow into the portal. Godvi trying to kite and fight here with the poke coming through, but UP just getting deeper and deeper vision in LGD's jungle.
Just pushing up the minion waves. Just suddenly, every camp is a risk for LGD to try and contest. Even their own Raptors and Wolves are looking like an objective too far. Flame's trying to show a bit of aggression in bot, be the alpha male, but the rest of UP are totally running over LGD.
I mean, the gold lead as well, just creating more problems. It's not like UP's comp is even bad, honestly, in mid to late game situations, but the fact that they're ahead as well, I mean, top lane especially, Hecarim is so far ahead of Flame.
It's the return of Sivir Hecarim. It's a very, very strong duo. Both of them are ahead. Flame is completely disregarding. And unfortunately, in these sort of situations, when Baron is a risk, when you get all this control over both the inner turrets in top and mid, someone eventually has to ward, and they just die.
Yeah, Imp's overextended. He's dead now as well. Jeez, that was a lot of damage as Flash Play will actually miss there for Hut. TBQ trying to run himself away, looks to get to safety here as he scatters back through his jungle. Flame or Rejoin in there as well. Punished actually going to get the kill there onto Nunu. Long teleports in, has the home guard ready, but he's rushing straight for Baron.
And there's just nothing Varus can do in this game. Varus got to dictate previously because you get into smart positions during Tempered Fate on a Baron. The Baron in the last game maybe lost UP the game. This time around, the jungler and the AD carry both dead. You could throw out a Tempered Fate, but it's on cooldown, so UP not going to have the same fate twice in a row.
Yeah, just nothing here, unfortunately, for LGD. Just going to try and get what vision they can as UP going to claim their Baron and extend that golden. And I have to say, the last game was definitely a bit shaky, some questionable late game calls there, but they've really tightened it up, playing to their win conditions here, playing like a team that's ahead, which they were in the last game, but doing a much better job of it in game number 2.
And that's why I'm going to disagree with you slightly. It is very reminiscent of the last game. It's just that around 21 minutes, they took the foot off the gas, and then everything changed at 30 minutes when they had that real ill-advised fail play around Baron, when a lot of the LGD members had just got items in the preceding 9 minutes that they shouldn't have had any right to. They've never taken the foot off. Every time Sejuani's ultimate has been available, aggressive Arctic Assault, Amy style. This is what we expected from AB. This is exactly the scouting report for this jungler based on his LSPL play on both Vici Gaming potential and previously on Vici Gaming when he took that lineup to the LPL in the previous split. So just showing so much aggression, never giving time to farm up. And that's why LGD just find themselves all at sea, because they don't have the items to deal with all the pressure and aggression of UP.
And I agree. It's almost been a completely different game.
Here we go.
Godvi just gets wrecked by an ulti. Long dives in as Punish takes him out. Flame, here's Megano, gets a 4-man ulti as Long goes into the Nexus turrets, but even Flame can't handle all of this. The ulti might keep him alive for a little bit longer, but Imp, no way to free hit. Double kill there for LeBlanc. Imp trying to navigate as best he can. Punish actually dives his way in, and Scat is able to get that kill. PYL forced to go through his own turret as Punish dives back in. PYL actually gets the kill onto LeBlanc, but I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah, too much aggression from Punish, but it doesn't matter. They take the inhibitor. They don't have another minion wave to pick up. They still have Baron buff minions, though, so it should be the game.
And turrets at least going to fall. The first one goes in. PYL gets hooked, and he'll get blown up there as well by Scatch. Now TBQ going to be the next target. Goes down, and that's everyone dead. Godvi is back. Imp will join him soon. Going to go in for the turrets here as Godvi throws out an ulti to keep them off the turrets. It's not game just yet, but it might as well be.
Amy is so tanky. Actually tended towards the turret. It didn't matter. Could just Arctic Assault away. The difference between the two games, Page Time, is best encapsulated by the last time we saw Sejuani ult or a big ultimate hit onto Varus, instant QSS. This game, no time for QSS, buying all these emergency items like, for example, the Home Guard boots. You don't have 317 CS Varus before the team fight phase started, and now he's just getting caught and dying at the start of every fight.
I mean, Imp's going to get red buff. He's only just got his 2 items by the looks of things, unless he's got a nice big stash of gold hidden away there in that cloak, because Imp, I mean, it was the same story for him playing Van last game, fell behind and then had to farm his way back up. But you said it, UP have just...
Top lane, even though Tabs was on this utility AD carry in a bot lane, Dexter still spent a lot of time there. I'm not sure if I like that.
Yeah, I think again, you know, we asked the question of what is their identity at the beginning of this split. We asked, you know, what we thought the style would be, how they would play around Froggen, or how would they do it, try to do something different. I think they're definitely still trying to find that out themselves. And it's not been bad at all. They played a very good game. They played a very safe game, and they took advantages where they could. But Unicorns were just able to outplay them and roll the lead forward consistently. This time, Power of Evil was not just an asset, not just a crucial part of the team, but the rest of the team had rallied around him, and they made it happen.
Yeah, definitely worked well for the Unicorns playing with Power of Evil. And that plays into the way On the Hunt was used. When Power of Evil went for that side lane farm, going back into the game, yes, you can punish the other members, but when you don't know where Power of Evil is, you have to hold that On the Hunt, wait for him to show his face.
Never taking their foot off the gas here, and those gold leads are ridiculous.
But those gold leads in 10 minutes' time might not be as relevant. There might be the items like QSS and all the cores down for Varus, who, despite being a mid-lane champion, mid-lane poke champion, doesn't need a lot of items. Needs Mana Moon, Brutalizer, Last Whisper, and then you can happily build a QSS. Everything after that's kind of a bonus, like a Bloodthirster, for example. But in the previous game, he had all those items before he was pressured. Now with Sejuani, it's so much easier to pressure. You throw out that ult, and if it hits, all in is the time to go. And it's hitting consistently. He was forced to take the barrier for laning phase. Didn't feel safe enough to take a cleanse against LeBlanc, and I don't blame him for that. But now he's punishing. Now he's being punished because the QSS, it's still effectively 1,300 gold away.
Yeah, and if we look at LGD and see that maybe they've got 2 items on some of their carries, honestly, their tanks are still falling behind as far as big items go. UP have 3 or 4 items on most of their carries. Long especially has the Trinity Force. Now he's
And then aggressively go on him so he can't poke you down or join the fight midway, because the Unicorns members were so tanky that they could buy enough time for Power Evil to flank, throw down the artillery, and basically win the fight. You have to get on top of him immediately, because if you don't do it immediately, it'll be too late.
Exactly. Just about it now. That's all for us, so we're going to go ahead and send it over to Quickshot on stage. He's standing by with the Unicorns of Love's Power of Evil.
Thank you very much, guys, and what a way to end the week. First of all, congratulations on the win, bouncing back with that Cogmore from yesterday to today. Talk to me about the matchup. What went well? What allowed you to win the game and close it out so convincingly?
Well, so if you survive the laning phase as Kog'Maw against Victor, you just outrange them with every ultimate, with every more skill point in the ultimate, you just get more range on the ultimate, which means at some point you have just so much range that Victor has no way of engaging on you, and you need 2-3 ultimates for him to go base. So it's really favorable for Kog'Maw after 11, and yeah, after that we let me the level 16 on bot lane. We let me like all the farm on bot, and I hit it, and I'm just calling, just wait, let me poke, and we can just win the game by just poking it out.
Well, congratulations, it definitely worked today. It didn't work yesterday. So what went wrong against Fnatic in your mind and in your opinion that, you know, ended up costing you the match?
Well, so yesterday it was like an assassin matchup, so it's even harder to play Kog'Maw. You just need to survive the laning phase again. It's kind of the same matchup as against Victor, just the kill potential in the laning phase is just way higher. And we didn't really get rolling. I didn't get my 1-2 items fast enough. And Kog'Maw is really strong in the late game, but we didn't have enough damage on our other champions, and they just got too tanky. The tanks were just unkillable at some point.
All right, well, 1-1 on the week. Dare I say typical Unicorns of Love, if we think about the spring split?
absolutely massive on this hack room, and they're going to go in for another turret here, and LGD are going to struggle to defend.
I think Long Strong 10, 2, and 5, 3-item LeBlanc will obliterate anyone.
Yeah, I mean, punished here. Luden's in there as well for maximum AoE damage. Long actually does get caught up there, but he'll ride a Lantern out to safety. That last in him won't quite go down yet, but won't be up for much longer here as LGD are trying to do everything they can to just stop the tide of UP pushing.
It's waiting for the next minion wave to come through. They still have the Baron buff as far as we can tell. I believe it's one off. One rotation. Doesn't kill Flame, but damage is going to stick.
Yeah, Long just going to run in for a flank as well. Imp is not safe either in this game. That's probably the other thing.
Fate misses.
Long is so good at getting onto these carries. Yeah, when the Bard ult down, I think Varus does have his backup. Flame will have his just for now, but his rage is about to run out. And honestly, LGD's luck looks to be running out here as well. UP not going to make the same critical mistake. And like you said, have never stopped just being aggressive into LGD.
I wouldn't have minded them continuing to apply pressure just because there's a big stack of minions pushing in the bottom lane. But maybe there's some big item bias coming through. So backing away is probably not going to be a big problem for UP. Compared to the previous game, they took the foot off the gas without breaking the base, without getting a massive objective. They only had some dragons to show for their game. This time around, they've broken the base multiple times, so you can afford to shop up and get ready, and Golvy's caught again.
They're going to get 1v1 here by the Hecarim. That's absurd damage. Amy nails the ulti there as well, just to seal the kill, and Long's going to pick up his 6th of the game.
And Sejuani being there was overkill. You saw the first burst at over half the health of a Varus. Such is the strength of this high-level Hecarim. They're going to try and finish the game, though, just off that pick.
You can see there are minions in the bottom side. UP are going to continue their aggression here. They can get the last turret if they want, but they probably don't need it. Only one Nexus turret remaining as well. Punish dives in and forces out TBQ's ultimate, and that's going to go in onto the turret. TBQ actually gets chained up there by LeBlanc. Turret's going to go down. Imp's going to get dove on. Dies almost immediately, it looks like, as he's forced to back off towards his fountain. The Nexus is exposed. Punish dives back in for a kill on Flame, doing everything he can, but it's not enough. Unlimited potential are going to split the series 1 apiece.
And the mid lane substitution paid off, and then some. 12, 2, and 6. We saw LeBlanc and Kassadin in the previous you played. We knew that we should expect a slightly different type of mid laner from Punish than we did from Jiang in the previous game, and it paid off trumps. Getting that power in the mid lane. Sivir and LeBlanc were the last 2 picks on the blue side, equaling out what was some weaker lanes, remember. It was the Hecarim and Sejuani, but the LeBlanc power against Varus, bit of an opportunistic Varus pick, I think too aggressive in that situation, was punished in lane, literally, by the player. And the Sejuani got enough time to scale up, and in the late game, Sejuani ulted one of the squishies, and they died.
I think LGD committing too much to their game 1 plan there, and I said